By popular request from all of you in the comments, today's video is entirely focused on HUD layouts and the gyroscope in Call of Duty Mobile. I'll be showing you exactly how to go from a basic 2-finger setup all the way up to 4 fingers, and yes, even 6 fingers on a mobile phone. And no, this is not a joke. As you'll clearly see in my hand cam, I personally place 6 fingers on mobile. I don't think I've ever seen another YouTuber doing this at this level. So make sure you don't skip a single part of this video, because I'll walk you through every detail, step by step, on how to build your perfect HUD and master the gyroscope. What's up, everyone? Aiden here. Welcome back to another educational Call of Duty mobile video. In this one, as many of you have asked, I'll be showing you the best HUD setups for different playstyles. Whether you're a 2-finger player, a 4-finger player, or even a 6-finger player on mobile. We'll also go over how to properly use the gyroscope and how to adjust your HUD for it. So make sure to watch this video until the very end, because if you skip any part, you'll only be hurting your own progress. Let's go. Let's get started. Let's start with the classic 2-finger HUD. Around 99.9% of players who use 2 fingers are either beginners or just play casually. It's extremely rare, maybe 1 out of 10,000 players, to find someone playing at a professional or competitive level using only 2 fingers. So, if your goal is to improve, to become faster, or to play competitively, you should not stay with the 2-finger setup for long. That being said, if you're still in the early stages, or if you simply want a comfortable 2-finger layout, here's the one I recommend. The default Call of Duty mobile HUD is actually pretty good for 2-finger players. If you want a slightly optimized version, take a look at the layout on screen right now. It's clean, functional, and perfect for beginners. With this setup, make sure your fire button is always aligned for aiming, because you won't be able to hip fire effectively. Since one thumb is used for movement and the other for shooting or aiming, you simply don't have the extra fingers to control recoil or camera movement while hip firing. However, if you are a gyroscope player, that changes everything. Gyroscope players can actually manage a 2-finger setup more effectively, because they can control aim and recoil by tilting the device. So, if you play with gyro, you can definitely stick with this setup for a while. But for regular players who don't use the gyroscope, I highly recommend moving to a 4-finger layout as soon as possible. Now, let's move on to the 4-finger setup. I really wanted to record this part with a proper hand cam, but unfortunately, due to some recording quality issues, it didn't turn out the way I wanted. Still, I promise that in the next tutorials, I'll make sure to include a high-quality hand cam demonstration so you can clearly see the full movement and control process. So, if you appreciate the effort and you want to see more professional tutorials like this, make sure to like this video and subscribe. It truly helps a lot. All right, let's get into the setup itself. When you first open the HUD editor, take all the unnecessary buttons, like the minimap, weapon icons, kill notifications, mic, voice chat, and other non-essential elements, and move them away from the main screen area. You want your display to be as clean as possible. The only essential buttons that should remain are slide, jump, ADS, aim down sight, hip fire, fire ADS, and reload. Start by positioning your joystick in the bottom left area, around the middle vertically. The right side, especially the bottom right corner, should remain mostly empty. This area must stay clear because you'll use your right thumb for looking around and controlling your aim. If you place too many buttons here, it will interfere with your tracking during close-range fights, and you'll lose one-on-one duels. Now, look at the top right and top left areas of your screen. Those are the key zones for your index fingers. On one side, place your ADS button. On the opposite side, put your hip fire and ADS fire buttons. Then, place your jump and slide buttons near your ADS side, just like you see on the example HUD on screen. With this setup, you'll be able to perform all the essential movement combos, jump shots, drop shots, and hip fire movement, with ease. You'll also be able to aim and shoot simultaneously without having to lift your thumbs off the screen. As for the reload button, you can place it near your movement buttons or next to the shooting side, whichever feels more comfortable for your hand size and device. For gyroscope players, the same principle applies. The HUD layout doesn't need to change much. Just make sure your right thumb area is still clear, so you can tilt your device freely without accidentally pressing buttons. And one more thing, From the settings, you can add a dedicated drop shot button, but personally, I don't recommend it. I prefer using the same slide button for drop shots. It feels smoother and faster in game. Now, once your HUD is ready, don't jump directly into ranked matches. Go to the practice range first. Spend some time just moving, sliding, and shooting. Your hands need to develop muscle memory, and that only happens through repetition. If you play about 1 to 2 hours a day, within 1 week you'll feel comfortable with the 4-finger layout. If you play longer, say more than 2 hours a day, you'll master it even faster, then in around 4 to 7 days. Remember, playing more in 1 day doesn't make you instantly better. It's about consistent daily practice. After a few hours or a couple of days, try it out in normal multiplayer matches, not ranked yet. Don't get frustrated if you lose or struggle at first. It's completely normal. Once you feel confident, after about a week, jump into ranked and test yourself. You'll notice that you're already playing at a completely new level compared to before. Now let's move on to the advanced part, the 6-finger HUD setup. Whew, this is where things get serious. I'm going to share with you my personal 6-finger layout, the same one I use for both multiplayer and battle royale. Whether you play on a tablet or on a mobile phone, this HUD works extremely well. You're hearing this from someone who has been top 1 on the leaderboard, broken global kill records in Alcatraz and Warfare, and played Call of Duty Mobile for over 5 years, with the last 4 years using a 6-finger layout. So believe me when I say, this setup is not random or experimental. It's been tested in high-level gameplay. At first glance, it might look a bit complicated, maybe even messy. But don't worry. In my actual gameplay, you can barely notice the buttons because I have their opacity set to 0. That's the trick. Once you become comfortable and your muscle memory develops, you won't need to see the buttons anymore. This not only makes your screen look cleaner, which is essential on mobile, but it also gives you a clearer view of enemies and the battlefield. Start by using my layout exactly as shown on screen. Once you get used to it, feel free to adjust a few things. For example, you can swap the slide button with jump, or switch the fire and ADS buttons depending on which side feels more natural for you. Both 4-finger and 6-finger HUD codes are pinned in the comments, so you can import them directly. If the code gives an error, just take a screenshot and manually copy the layout. Now, regarding how to hold your device, I highly recommend not holding your phone directly in your hands when playing 6 fingers. It's nearly impossible to maintain control that way. Instead, place your phone on a flat surface, like a stand, a cooling pad, or even a soft cushion on your lap. That's how I play, as you can see in the hand cam clips. Just keep in mind, playing on a surface may cause your phone to heat up or create minor lag, so using a cooling pad is the best option. And here's another important point. If you're planning to switch to an iPad later, this 6-finger HUD will still work perfectly. Because if you've already mastered 6-finger play on mobile, transitioning to an iPad will be incredibly smooth. You'll already have the coordination and movement built in. Finally, here are the optimal settings for both 4-finger and 6-finger layouts. I've included separate recommendations for multiplayer and battle royale modes. Follow these exactly, and you'll get the most consistent results. As you're watching these settings on screen, I'd really appreciate it if you could like the video. It means a lot because I spend a huge amount of time creating and testing everything I show you here. Your support motivates me to keep improving the content and bring you even more advanced tutorials. Before we wrap up, I want to quickly go over some common mistakes that many players make when transitioning from 2-finger to 4-finger or 6-finger setups. First, one of the biggest errors is rushing the process. Many players immediately jump into high-level matches with a new HUD without giving themselves enough time to build muscle memory. This often leads to frustration, missed shots, and even developing bad habits that are hard to correct later. Another frequent mistake is improper placement of key buttons. For example, some players place the fire or ADS buttons too close together, which interferes with movement and aiming. Others forget to leave the right-hand area clear for smooth camera movement, which drastically reduces reaction time during close-range fights. From my own experience, it took me several weeks of consistent practice to fully adapt to my 6-finger layout. At first, I made mistakes, missed shots, and felt clumsy. But gradually, with focused training and careful adjustment of the HUD, my gameplay improved dramatically. The key takeaway here is practice consistently, be patient, and adjust the HUD based on what feels natural to your hands and device. Finally, a small tip that most players overlook. Always double-check your HUD in both multiplayer and Battle Royale modes. Some buttons that feel fine in one mode can actually hinder performance in another. Make slight tweaks as needed, and over time, this attention to detail will make a huge difference in your gameplay efficiency and overall performance. If you have any suggestions for future videos, please drop them in the comments. I personally read and reply to every single one. And of course, if you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the upcoming tutorials. Thank you so much for watching. I truly hope you found this video helpful. And before you go, I highly recommend checking out my other tutorial on 5 hidden secrets to becoming a professional sniper in multiplayer. It's packed with tips that will take your sniping skills to the next level. This has been Aiden, also known as the Alpha Dare, and I'll see you all in the next video.